Hello, and welcome to Inspire Synergy. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump, and I can now say Jake Voskuhl, UConn legendary basketball player. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large and small. They will save you money or get you a big, fat return. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you suffered any type of personal injury, a slip and fall, a car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. Trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape? You go to Andre. He has a athletic development program where he trains boys and girls of all ages in the sport of their choice, develops them from the ground up, helps them to reach their full potential, become the best they can possibly be. And Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. We also have down south Julius Williams and the Trench Mob. Julius trains offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments across the country. Julius is located in Decatur, Georgia, but he works with kids across the nation. You can come and work with him in person. He has a virtual program that's very, very successful, and you can partake in any of their tournaments. They also go to college showcase camps where every camp they attended, a member of the Trench Mob was offered a full scholarship. We also have the Trench Mob show every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m., and it is growing exponentially. We are the number one recruiting show in the nation for offensive and defensive linemen. Julius has sent kids to Florida, Florida State, Miami, Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. To work with the best, go to www.battleofthetrenches.com. James Whitfield runs Luther James Insurance for the last 3 years. James has spent his time learning the art of financial planning. He specializes in insurance policies, especially life insurance. He will make you a boatload of money, and he will do it tax-free. He understands retirement planning, the stress that goes with it. How much am I going to need? For how long? Do I have enough? Because fear of the unknown is real. To contact James, get a free quote, go to lutherjamesinsurance.com. One of our newest sponsors is Rob Hill of R. Hill Enterprises, Inc., located in Chicago, Illinois. Rob also does financial services. He does insurance policies, retirement planning. He is a best-selling author. You can purchase his book on Amazon. It's entitled Ask the Right Questions, Get the Right Answers by Rob Hill. He also is a public speaker. He goes around the nation and speaks at colleges, universities, and the community groups. His agenda is to help pull people's heads out of the sand because we are all ostriches. And 99% of us don't know what to do unless someone is telling us what to do. And his favorite saying is 99% of us are like being in a closet looking for a black cat that ain't there. So Rob aims to raise awareness and help to educate people to ask the right questions, get the right answers, and make sound decisions. So now for the men of the hour from the House of Changes, we have Razul Wallace. Razul in his car. Welcome.
What's going on, Cully?
We have Ja. Ja, great to see you.
Nice to see you, Cully.
And a very special guest, Mr. Kirk Charles, who is going to talk about being fit beyond 40. That is what he specializes in. And that is what we all need because we're all beyond 40 and we need to stay fit. Welcome, Kirk.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So can you give me a little background? Tell me what you've done and tell me how you have gotten to the fit beyond 40 point right now that you're at.
Well, to tell you the truth, it started way before I was 40. You know, I've always
good. That's smart.
Yeah, you can't be fit beyond 40 and start at 40. You got to start there. But I've always been athletic, always given 1,000%. I was on the football team in high school. I played tennis. I played golf. I do a little bit of everything. And I think the biggest change that I made that enabled me to be fit beyond 40 is the dietary change. I went from the typical soul food diet to a vegan diet way back in 1989. And,
wow.
you know,
before it was even a thing.
Before, I didn't even know what the word meant. And to be very honest with you, it was totally by mistake. I just stumbled into it. Back in maybe 85, 86 or so, I stopped eating red meat. Next year, I stopped eating chicken. Next year, I stopped eating fish. Then I stopped eating dairy, and I was there. And it was unintentional. So it was the best mistake or the best happening ever in my life. Let's put it like that. And it's done wonders for me. So the combination of that and physical fitness, I think, is the key for us to be fit beyond 40. Especially as men, because there are a lot of metabolic diseases out there that are trying to take us out. Obesity, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cancer, you name it. I believe that most of those metabolic diseases are caused by what we eat, or they're heavily influenced by what we eat. You know, it's total lifestyle that we have to look at. But
Exactly.
what we put into our mouths is very important, and it's something that we don't really think about as much as we should. There's a lot of conflicting information out there, if not confusing information. So I think I've found a solution that can pretty much work for everybody. Maybe not exactly the way that I do it, but you can implement certain things that I do, which I think will put you in a better position.
So, I mean, you're a lifelong entrepreneur with ventures in several industries. Why health and wellness at this stage in your life? Is it more because you want to give back and you see like an epidemic between men and health really in this country going downhill and trying to make a difference?
It really pains me to see people who are just not really as healthy and vibrant as they could be. And I think the changes that you can make are very simple. This is not complex. You don't have to have a PhD or anything like that. Correct. To understand what to do. So simple changes, basically eat food instead of thinking about nutrients so much. There's a gentleman by the name of Michael Pollan. He wrote a book called In Defense of Food. He's written many books, and In Defense of Food is one of my favorites. And because I read that book, that sort of turned my head around as far as what we should be thinking about as far as our concept of what we put into our mouth. So instead of thinking about macronutrients and micronutrients and dissecting them and trying to come up with pills and concoctions to put those things into your body, use actual food to do that. mostly vegetation. So I don't think you have to be totally plant-based. I really don't like labels all that much, but
Sure.
so people understand where I'm coming from, I say vegan/plant-based. But I do think that you need to have an inventory of what you eat and know exactly what's going into your body so that you can get the best out of yourself. So my job is just to help to educate people and more so to help guide them. You need a motivated person to want to do something like this. And a lot of times that motivation comes from a devastating experience in your life. Maybe you have like a cancer diagnosis or a heart attack or a stroke.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people wait until that happens before they make some type of positive change. So I'm trying to get the people before that happens to prevent it from happening, number one, and to also just excel physically, mentally, spiritually, as high as they probably can go.
What are your thoughts on, you always hear about people taking something like Wegovy or Ozempic, that, I've lost 30, 40 pounds on Ozempic or Wegovy. Are those just quick fixes and, people end up gaining the weight back? Or realistically, if you do take one of those substances, you do have to change your lifestyle and to keep the weight off for a significant amount of time.
There are people who have had success with it, but the reports that I hear are saying that most people are regressing and gaining the weight back. So I'm not keen on that, on GLP-1 inhibitors.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
It's best, in my opinion, that you use natural means to do it, because once we start taking all types of drugs and pharmaceuticals and other concoctions, it disrupts your metabolism. And you don't want to disrupt the enzymatic actions that are going on in your body, because you may lose weight because you're taking it, but it can cause another problem in another area. So when you're on TV and you're looking at pharmaceutical advertisements, like, all of us see, they always start talking about a list of things that can go wrong.
They do. They list 50 things that can go wrong.
Yeah, very low. I was looking at a commercial a couple of days ago. It was for some type of a drug for cancer. And they listed all the side effects. And finally, they said, and it can even cause death. They
all say that at the end. I love it.
Yeah, I forgot what the doggone drug was for. I happen to know people who have had cancer and they changed their diet, and their dietary change did not cause death. And they actually did a lot better. So it depends on how you want to look at it. It does take a little bit of study on the part of the individual to go by all natural means, because once the drugs are prescribed to you, you feel you have the confidence of the doctor, or you feel confident that maybe he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
and
they don't.
You just go with it. You just go with it. And I'm of the opinion that, they really don't know what they're talking about, because those drugs for metabolic diseases do not cure the disease. They help you manage the disease. And I'm looking for a cure.
Exactly.
I'm looking for something that works, that doesn't really cost any money, and, that has no side effects. It's just that simple.
So you have your diet. If you adjust your diet, how much of exercise comes into play? Should it be 30 minutes a day? Should it be an hour a day? Should it be just cardio every day? What's the best way to really combat it using both tools, your diet with exercise? Because you really need both, right? Would you say, or no?
You do need both, but I look at exercise more so for stress reduction and injury prevention. I look at food for overcoming metabolic problems or metabolic diseases. So there are many people who are very, very fit. Like, I'm a cyclist. I like to ride my bike. I can do like 50 to 100 miles on any given day. But that doesn't mean my body's not developing cancer because of what I've eaten before I got on the bike and after. That said, it's a combination of both. And how much exercise does one person need? That varies. For myself, I put in 45 minutes a day. And not because that's the magic number. It's because I just have established a habit of exercise. So we have to look at the habit more so than the amount of time. So if a person's just starting out, I want that person to pick an amount of time that they can exercise every day. Now, if they pick 5 minutes, that's fine. If they pick 1 minute, that's fine. So for instance, it'll take 1 minute to wake up. Excuse me?
I asked Doc if he was listening.
Razul likes picking on me. It's like he loves it. And I just turned 40 this year.
Oh,
And
wow.
I do need to get back in shape.
Mhm.
And then both Razul and Letitia are in very good shape. So, we that topic comes up a lot.
Mhm. Well, you can easily catch up to them and surpass them, but it starts as a habit. So
Exactly.
give yourself a small amount of time that you can do every day. And
Right.
if it's
Can I-
1 minute, you can wake up
can
in
I-
the morning and do 20 squats in the morning, and that won't take you 1 minute to do that. But you started the habit.
Can I add to that, Kirk?
Sure.
Just I got deployed in 2021, and I had always had good habits in working out, but all of my joints hurt so much. I said, let me just give myself a break, and then I broke the habit, and that was the hardest thing to get back. So what really started me getting into a good habit is just telling myself that I just want to create a good habit, and it didn't have to be a lot. I didn't even want it to be challenging at all. I wanted it to be where I didn't feel the mental weight of getting there and the dread of it, but just kind of like creating the habit again. And then once you get there, you'll increase a little bit, but I wouldn't push it too hard. But at least for me, starting back that way really helped to like facilitate the habit. And then it's easier to like push a little bit more as, you know what I mean, as I want. But like you said, the habit to me is the most significant thing.
Absolutely no doubt about it. No doubt.
So, Kirk, talk a little bit more about the diet. Like, is it something where you should be shopping at Whole Foods and buying certain products? And what would you recommend for someone our age, like a good diet that is going to be beneficial for our long-term health and our, especially our gut, our intestines, all that stuff that is very important. All I hear about is gut health.
Yeah. And that's probably all you should hear about because it's very, very important. What's going on in that gut determines pretty much everything. They say all disease starts in the small intestine. So we got to be careful what we put in there. Now, where should you shop? Should you go to Whole Foods? No, not necessarily. You can go anywhere. And I go to Whole Foods almost every other day because it's only a block away from where I live. But your local convenience supermarket is just fine. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money. Now, there are times where I've spoken in neighborhoods that, weren't very well off or were not middle class. And I remember one time before I went and spoke, I went to the local neighborhood, supermarket, and I picked out items in the produce aisle of that supermarket that cost less than $2 per pound. I had like 50 items.
So you showed them right there. Yeah.
I showed them right there and I took all the pictures. So the produce aisle, that's where the most of your shopping should be when you go into a supermarket. Then you have the aisle that has beans and rice in it. So those two aisles right there should be like 95% of what you consume.
So now, you're saying fresh fruit, beans, rice, vegetables.
Exactly.
Okay. Because I've always asked because I've done research on this, and I'm Lebanese, and they say that Mediterranean diet is one of the best for living a long life. They say the Mediterranean diet is that accurate?
I believe it is accurate, but we have to take into account how many countries are on the Mediterranean, like 21, 22 countries. So
you're right. You're right. It's a small sample size.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that Lebanese diet, if it incorporates just fresh vegetation, as the other countries around the Mediterranean, it's fine. And I don't really believe that you have to subscribe to a particular diet. You just have to have fresh vegetation.
Right.
That's it.
So I just give me an idea, just because I hate breakfast. and I normally will skip breakfast.
Mhm.
Is it better to take like an Ensure for breakfast, or would you recommend another alternative for breakfast instead of a shake, or skipping it altogether?
I don't recommend skipping. Eat when you're hungry, but
Okay.
when you start eating a lot of fresh vegetation or fresh food that you prepare yourself, you're going to greatly reduce your caloric content
Okay.
ingestion, which is number one. It's going to be fresh, so there won't be a lot of preservatives and chemicals in it also. So you're going to have higher quality food, regardless of what it is that you may be eating. Now, on most mornings, I start with fruit. This morning, I had a couple of bananas and some grapes, and I was on my way. I was ready to go. Now, I've been doing this for quite a period of time. My gut bacteria is used to digesting that type of food, so sometimes it does take a while to transition if you're coming from, let's say, bacon and eggs and going directly into vegetation. So you have to take your time with it, and you make a gradual transition. But I don't recommend skipping meals.
Right.
However,
I've heard
folks that I know who have done intermittent fasting, they
I've
do
heard
very
that
well.
too.
It's
Yes.
just hard to sustain it.
Yes,
Very
long
difficult.
term.
It's hard to do for the rest of your life.
Long term, no, it's very hard.
Yeah, long term is very difficult.
So the other thing, people always say are salads. Are salads, with depending on how they're made, depending on the dressing that you use, is that a good meal, something you can have for lunch?
Mhm. Salad is always a good meal, and I consider myself to be the king of salad.
You are the salad king.
I'm the king of salad. I'll have salad for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And regarding the type of dressings that you can put on, I make a lot of dressings myself. I pretty much.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, I make a lot of raw dressings without any oil, without any added sugar, without any added anything. So, for instance, one dressing could be pecans, oranges, blueberries, and a little apple cider vinegar.
Wow.
Put that into a blender, hit a button. It damn near tastes like a smoothie. That's how good it is. And I don't like the typical boring salad of iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, and onions and cucumbers. I never
Correct.
have that. I may have spinach, arugula, oranges, apples, and then I make my own dressing that I can put on there. And it just tastes great. It just tastes great. But when you start transitioning with your diet, food tastes better because I believe your taste buds start awakening and they're not inundated with sugar and salt.
Salt.
And,
yeah,
yeah.
Salt kills you.
Yeah, that just
So-
matches your taste.
So give me some advice. I'm a type 2 diabetic.
Mhm.
What would you recommend for me as far as eating? Because I always hear from my doctor, you gotta have more proteins, lean proteins, not as much carbohydrates. I'm a big rice fan. I can eat rice all day. I love paella. I love different things with rice. Just basic chicken and rice, something like that.
Mhm.
But what would you recommend for a type 2 diabetic as
Mhm.
far as setting their standards for their diet? Some good meals they could eat.
For type 2 diabetic, most of the type 2 diabetics I know are trying to lose weight. And I think losing weight is the key to it because I think the medical profession has it wrong. They try to tell you to cut down on carbohydrates, don't eat any sugar, and then you can consume a whole lot of meat on the other end. And
They do tell you that. Yes.
Yeah. And then you take something like metformin.
That's exactly what they tell you.
Does not cure the disease.
No, metformin's bad. I know metformin's bad.
So regarding type 2 diabetes, what happens is that the glucose cannot get into your cells, cannot get into your muscles and your liver because there's a lot of fat already in the liver or the muscle. So it clogs it up. So then when you consume something that's sugary, your blood sugar goes way high and it's out of control.
Yes. Oh, so that's why it goes high.
So you have the tendency to think that sugar is bad for you. That's not the issue.
It's the fatty.
Yeah, the fatty food that you're eating that's clogging up your cells so the glucose can't get in there. Now, refined sugar is not your friend, But the
Correct.
sugar that's inherent in fruit and vegetables that's already there, that's perfectly fine.
That's what I was wondering. So, because I know that fruit and the fruits have natural sugar in it. So you're saying, if I eat an apple, a pear, an orange, that sugar is much different than, if I have coffee or whatever with sugar in it.
And you have to look at it like, let's say something like cocaine. If we were somewhere in the mountains chewing on a coca plant, there would be no problem. But once you take that and you make it into cocaine, then it becomes much more powerful.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
That's how I look at processed and refined sugar. And obviously, it doesn't have the effect that cocaine would have on you or heroin or something like that, but it's not that potent. But over the long term, it will affect you. So anything that's reduced to powder form is much more powerful than it is naturally in the plant. In the plant, it's okay because you have the fiber to protect you. You have other macronutrients and micronutrients to protect you, so you don't have to worry about it. So what I recommend is that you go on more of a low-fat diet. Now, my diet happens to be extremely low-fat because I eat a whole lot of fresh vegetation, so you're not going to get a lot in it. And keep in mind, we need fat. We need carbs, we need fat, we need protein. We need all three. We focus a lot on protein or too much on protein, but we need all three. And when you're eating a lot of fresh vegetation, the ratio of fat to carbs to protein falls into the right balance. And that enables you to lose weight. So I would suggest, number one, keeping a food diary, because you got to know what you're putting in.
I've heard that too, yes.
Keep the food diary. Eat a ton of fresh vegetation. 50% of your caloric intake, 50% or more should be fresh, uncooked, unprocessed vegetation. And for me, the other, I eat about 75 to 80% raw food. I don't cook that much.
Because I've had a couple issues, and that's why I'm asking. I've had 2 diabetic seizures. One was because my sugar was through the roof, and then I was trying to control it better, and I had one because my sugar was too low. And then one time it was 500, and I had a seizure, and the other time it was like 15, and I had a seizure. So I've been trying to find the middle ground with trying to control it, and I'm obviously going too extreme one way or the other. So I'm trying to find that middle ground. So you're saying the fresh foods, the salads, the fruits, the raw food, that is consistent. And type 2 diabetes, they say, can be controlled naturally by your diet, where you don't even need insulin if you eat properly.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And every one of us has some type of a genetic weakness. And processed food and meat products exploit your genetic weaknesses. So my weakness is blood pressure. One of the big reasons I eat, or the reason that I eat a lot of raw vegetation, is because I was in a hypertensive crisis state a couple of years ago. And I tried everything humanly possible, even on a vegan diet for like 30 years or so. My blood pressure was still high, but I was eating a lot of vegan junk food too, which any type of junk food is bad for you, meat-based or plant-based. The only thing that I had not tried up until 2023 was a lot of raw food. And I went for raw for like 75 days in a row. And after like 2 weeks, my blood pressure started coming down to normal levels from a hypertensive crisis. So I'm thoroughly convinced that that's the best way to go. But that's my weakness. Now, someone else, their weakness might be maybe cancer or heart disease or whatever it is. Whatever your diet is, it's either going to exploit those weaknesses or it's going to help you overcome those weaknesses.
Oh, so it can feed off those weaknesses, or it can benefit you.
Yeah. When you eat a lot of meat products in your intestines, there's, if you listen to a lot of whole food experts, they talk about something that's produced called TMAO, trimethylamine oxide. That's produced in your gut. And that is one of the precursors or the causes of heart disease. Now, that's just from eating meat. There are a whole lot of other things that go on also, but that's just one thing. So depending on your genetics,
Right.
There you go. So you have to be very careful. So that's why I say keep the food diary, because you want to know what you're putting in. So for me, what I do, in your case, you can do the same thing. I have friends who are diabetic, and they have the patches on their arms, so they know what their readings are.
I'm trying to get that.
Get
My
one
insurance haven't approved it, but I'm trying to get it.
Get one of those patches. Okay, get one. And what I do is I take my blood pressure several times a day. So if I eat something and then
you can get one for your blood pressure too.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to be. No, you can't get a patch for your blood pressure. I just take it with the cuff.
Oh, you do it with the cuff. Okay.
I do it with the cuff. But the thing is that I'm on top of it, so I'm always aware.
Yes.
I'm always aware what fuel that I put in might cause it to go up or go down.
Yes. And that's what kind of happened to me after my first seizure. I started testing myself a lot more, and I was, I was taking a little bit of insulin here or there, but I got a little bit too extreme with, not eating at all because I was afraid. But now I understand that there are foods you can eat, and you don't have to starve yourself, and it's not good not to eat. What are some of the common misconceptions of a raw food diet? Because I always hear about it, and you hear different things, and obviously people have their opinions. So I just would like to hear some of the common misconceptions that you can share. Misconceptions:
the food doesn't taste good.
That is true. That's number one. Yes.
Okay. The number one, we tend to think that we eat in order to get nutrients into our bodies, but that's not the reason why we eat, because it feels good. It tastes good. Right? So the food,
there's a dopamine effect from it.
Yeah, exactly. The food, it tastes absolutely great, but I can understand how a person who's on a meat-based diet if they immediately jump into a plant-based diet, I can see how they wouldn't appreciate it, because again, your taste buds are masked and distorted with sugar, salt, fat that's put in food. So grapes may not taste sweet to you if you eat a lot of ice cream.
Correct. Right.
But you do get used to it. So that's number one, that it just doesn't taste good. Number two, there's no variety. There's plenty of variety. There are many more plants.
There's a million things you can eat. Yeah.
There are a million things you can eat. Number three, it just takes a long time to prepare. You got to do all these special things and make sure you get all of your nutrients.
The food prep is huge. I have heard that. Heard that.
It's easy to do. It's easy to do. And it doesn't mean that you have to go totally raw. I'm not suggesting that.
No. You're saying be selective and be smart about it.
A portion of your diet should be raw. Now, there's something called digestive leukocytosis. And this was discovered by, I believe, Paul Kalchikov, a gentleman in Europe back in the 1930s. And he found that when you eat meat products or cooked food, you have an immune system response to the food. Because you've cooked it and maybe destroyed the digestive enzymes in the food, your white blood cells have to come in and help you digest it. So that's digestive leukocytosis. That does not happen when you eat raw food.
Right. And some of the things that I always hear, just help us set the stage for men's health today. What is the reality across racial, cultural, and economic lines in America? Because certain people say that, having a raw food diet or getting these nutrients can be too expensive. And I know you proved it by going to a local grocery store and finding 20 different things you could get for $2. But that's the misconception people have. They think that it's too expensive to eat healthy, where in reality, you just proved that it's easy to do. You just have to be vigilant about it, correct?
You have to be vigilant about it. As an example, if you go and buy a Big Mac and soda and French fries, I have no idea how much it costs because I haven't done that in more than 35 years. But whatever it costs, what if you just went to the supermarket and bought a bag of lentils, which costs less than $1? Maybe a couple of gallons of water when you turn on your faucet, that might be 30 cents, and some salt and pepper, and maybe throwing some carrots in there. You have a big bowl of soup that can last for a couple of days.
I love lentil soup.
You have like one Big Mac meal on the side.
You're right.
I mean, but see, no one's really talking about that. You know, advertising has seduced us with guile
Very
and witty.
much.
Yeah, and we stop think. We shut our brains off and we stop thinking and just looking at things sensibly. And then we get caught up in what Michael Pollan would call the age of nutritionism, where we just start talking about nutrition all the time and we're not talking about food. See, we understand food, but really no one knows what a protein looks like. You know, no one knows what a carbohydrate looks like, but I know what an apple is or an orange.
Right.
You know, so let's talk about that and focus on that more regarding what we put into our bodies.
Kirk,
And
the lentil soup, that wouldn't be categorized as raw food. That'd be cooked food, correct?
That would be cooked food, yes. You are correct.
Now, can you give me example of like raw foods an average person can go in and grab quickly?
Mm-hmm. That you can go in and that could be one drawback of eating raw food, unless you're just going. If you're just going and getting an apple or an orange or something like that, of course that's easy.
Yep.
But when you're talking about preparing something, there normally isn't a lot of raw food prepared at the supermarket.
Okay.
Ready made.
It's not ready made, exactly.
Yeah.
So what would you put together to ready make it? Like what would that look like?
Well, food prep takes time. I mean, you got to get up each morning and you got to have your food prep for your lunch, for your dinner. I think that's what he's talking about.
I'm trying to understand like the raw portion.
Raw portion?
Yeah.
Well, for me, if you're cooking food, steamed vegetables has to be the easiest thing to cook. You can't burn it. It's only water. It's only a pot.
Right.
So that's easy. So a lot of times I'll have steamed. This is not the raw version, obviously, but I have steamed vegetables and quinoa, or steamed vegetables and farro or some other grain, and I put some lemon juice on it. And that's pretty simple. But however, I have recipes that I've done for my class online, and one in particular. Now this does take some time to make it, but I can have some cashews for those who like nuts, apples. Cashews. Sun-dried tomatoes, broccoli, asparagus, some nutritional yeast. I can put that into a food processor and hit the button, and it gives you a nice chicken salad-ish consistency.
Right.
And that's all raw. All right. So, and I put cashews in there. Sometimes I'll put almonds in there. It depends on the mood that I'm in. I can make a raw corn chowder soup.
Oh, love that.
You make a raw corn chowder soup. So there are many, many things that you can make that are raw. It does take time when you're putting things together. Again, because you can't buy it, or if you do buy it, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Correct.
And you have to remember that there are no preservatives in raw food preparation. So that's one of the reasons why it costs so much more. But the easiest thing is the salad. A lot of times I take a zucchini and I'll just make zoodles with it. I'll have like a little contraption that I put it in and I spin it around and you get like zucchini noodles. Then I'll put some nuts in there, some other fruits, maybe put some raisins in there or chop up some dates. Whenever I want to sweeten something, I use raisins or dates. I don't use any sugar or honey or zucchini or anything like that. So there are endless combinations as far as what you can do. I made a sauce the other day, which is great on veggies and also on salad, which would be Turkish figs, cashews, and just water. And I just put that in my blender and I hit the button. Nice creamy consistency. It tasted beautiful. It was unbelievable. And actually, no, I put some spices in there also.
What's wrong with the honey? Like, what is there something wrong with the honey?
I just don't do honey. Honey is a little too sweet for me. I think most of the honey that you buy has sugar that's added to it.
It does have added, yes.
If it's pure honey, then that's a little different. But I'm just not used to doing that any longer. I'm just out of the habit of doing it. So I won't say anything that's like really that bad about it. But if I want to sweeten something, normally it's dates or
raisins,
Turkish figs. Yeah. And there are occasions where I may use some pure maple syrup.
Right,
which
right.
has a milder taste than honey.
And you can get raw honey at certain places where
Yeah, I have
there's
some.
no added
I'm
sugar.
just, you know,
Yeah,
I
I don't
think we
have
do a
anything
little bit.
against raw honey. I don't have anything really against it. I'm
Yeah.
just not in the habit of using it.
Like,
correct.
I learned this. I've been eating more raw corn because we've been doing a better job of working with local farmers. Is there a nutrition, like, what's the nutritional difference from eating a cooked corn and a raw corn?
The only thing that I could think of would be, again, destroying the digestive enzymes.
Okay.
So in the raw food community, once you start cooking food above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, that's when the food starts to degrade.
Correct.
So that's just a light fire where the food starts to degrade, or the digestive enzymes.
And
when
I
you
tend
destroy
to
those,
use a lot of olive oil, avocado oil.
I don't use any.
So limes and lemons. Is that bad?
No, I don't use any oil. Why? Because, again, my issue is high blood pressure. Oil makes your blood more viscous. It makes it more difficult to go through your veins, and it raises your blood pressure. So everyone says, well, the Mediterranean diet is full of olive oil. The reason the Mediterranean diet is so great, or the diets along the Mediterranean, is because they're eating a whole lot of fruits and vegetables, a high vegetable content, not really because of the olive oil in particular. So again, when you take something and you reduce it to, like, you take an olive and you just take the oil out of that and you reduce it, it becomes very, very potent. And oil is the most fattening food that we consume. It's like 110. Yeah, oil is the number one most fattening. Number two, I believe, is cheese. It's cheese. And when you consistently pump those things into your body, you could have a problem depending on what your genetic weakness is.
So let me ask you this, because this is a topic that often comes up. There seems to be a trust gap often with our doctors. A lot of men suffer from quote unquote white coat syndrome. And the generational trauma of going to get medical testing. Is that a natural fear? Is that something that we need to get over? Is that something that's real, that, doctors aren't always the experts and don't always, they may try to do what's best for you, but they make mistakes as well.
Well, I have a fear of doctors. Okay. I really do. And that's why I eat the way I do.
That's what I figured.
Exercise as much as possible. And I've trained doctors, and I know that they really don't know anything about nutrition. That's not their specialty. No. Yeah, that's not their specialty. And did you know that medical misdiagnosis is one of the leading causes of death in this country?
I know that for sure.
Depending on which poll you read, or some say it's number 3, some say it's in the top 10. But and then historically, as African Americans, we're looking at the Tuskegee experiment. How can you trust it?
I agree.
Right.
That's
true. I basically don't trust them just because I know that they don't know anything about nutrition. That's right.
Correct.
And we can't expect them to know. This is something we have to investigate ourselves, because one thing I'm telling you to do is eat a lot more fresh vegetation. By telling you to do that, what you're going to do is, if everybody in the country started doing that, it would completely disrupt the economy.
Very true.
It would change. It would change what the food manufacturers, how much money they make. You wouldn't be as sick. You wouldn't be going to the doctors as much, and you wouldn't need as much pharmaceutical medications in order to get through the day.
Absolutely.
Everything. It's very radical what we're talking about, but it's the best way. And the reason why it's not promoted that much is because there's no money to be made off.
Right. And the big thing in our country right now, we've seen just such a spike in childhood obesity and children getting diabetes. What is something you would tell parents to help their kids, because everyone is focused on love your body, love who you are, don't listen to the people who say things about you, when in reality it's good to feel good about yourself, but you're damaging your long-term health. And when you get that way as a kid, it's very challenging to lose it when you become an adult. So what are some things that parents could do to help their children lose weight and not, quote unquote, end up body shaming them?
Very, very difficult proposition.
Yeah.
Obviously, the education part is huge. And the last time that I spoke in a school, which is about 2 months ago, I was telling the kids there that, look, you have to be the fitness enforcers for your family. You have to help educate your parents, because they just don't know.
Right.
So it starts with education, and the body shaming part of it, that's a tricky one, because no one wants to be body shamed. But the bottom line is, are you healthy or unhealthy? If
that's
you're
the key. Yeah.
30, 40 pounds overweight. So that's something that I'm not absolutely positive as far as what we do to confront it. I do know, though, that we need the education, and we just have to have people more aware of what they're doing and the ramifications of it. So I don't look at food as good or bad.
No.
I look at food as it produces a certain result.
Correct.
And what I'm telling you to do by eating more fresh vegetation and exercising, that just produces a positive result. Eating hamburgers and hot dogs and Twinkies doesn't.
Is that something like at schools they could implement, like during lunch, when they give lunches, to try to provide more fruits and vegetables and help their diet along? Because a lot of the times they eat what they get at school.
Yeah, it's so political. Like, for instance, in most of the school systems, they serve you a lot of milk.
They do.
The dairy industry is subsidized by the government, and then they start to pump those products into the school. But don't we know that 70% of Black folks are lactose intolerant?
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's
what they do.
It's politics and it's money.
Yeah.
In that case, I don't know how to overcome that directly.
Well, bringing your own lunch, I think, would be
it's one step.
Yeah,
and then Razul,
you got to educate. We need to be educated about these things and what they're doing to our bodies. So the education is the key.
Some type of cultural shift, because I think there's a lot of cultural implications that play a big role.
Huge.
Especially when you compare Americans to other countries who don't have obesity issues. But Razul, you have a good routine with your kids. Can you talk a little bit about like your philosophy and their mom's philosophy towards, how they eat and what they eat?
Yeah, I think we just try to reinforce. We're not vegan. We do eat meat, but a lot of what Kirk is saying, as far as eliminating like sugar, processed food, and we're not perfect, but I'll say probably 2 or 3 times a week I'll have some type of sweet snack or something like that. But to his point, when I have less of a taste for them, because I feel like my taste buds have changed, because I've been eating a lot more fruits, vegetables. I do the smoothies pretty often. And then just talking to the kids about it. They always ask for the sweets and the snacks, but every time they do, I'll tell them, this is basically like poison, and they know that they're limited to maybe one treat, in a time frame. I don't understand. I mean, I guess a lot of people aren't aware of how negatively it can impact the kids, so they just let them, have reckless abandon with it. And then the other thing is just trying to make sure that they're active, whether they just get outside each day, they're in an organized sport, or they work out with me.
But you also model the behavior, correct? Like you're not eating that stuff. Like one good example was like when we ordered fast food because it was convenient today, but none of us got soda or juice, and our expectation is to drink water.
If you drink water, that changes a lot. You just eliminate soda and all that stuff and drink water. That's a huge change.
And then like another thing is like he has that huge bottle of juice that he created, similar to what you were talking about, Kirk, earlier. I think one thing he always adds is coconut water that you didn't mention.
Coconut water is great.
I'm not sure of the health benefits of the coconut water versus the regular water, but I'm sure there is because it comes from a tree, you know?
Yeah, that's what they drink on Lost. So Kirk, you're fit beyond 40. Who typically do you work with? I mean, because you're not a nutritionist, but you're definitely an advisor. People get in touch with you. What's the best way for them to contact you? Do you have a website, an email?
Yes, I do. KirkCharles.com.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes.
KirkCharles.com. I'm also on Instagram at Kirk Charles. And I mostly work with older individuals because I'm one of them. I seem to understand.
Well, I mean, when I heard your age, I did not believe it. You look like you're 38 years old, so you're doing a great job.
Thank you, buddy. I wish I was, and I had my turn. I had my chance.
You look like you're 38, and you act like you're 38. So you look. Listen, age is just a number, and you look phenomenal. So people can contact you, and you work with them directly on nutrition, diet, exercise, putting together plans for lifestyle changes. Really, right?
That's basically what it is. It's all about lifestyle.
Yeah,
and
it's not one thing.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. It's not just food because people eat for different reasons.
Correct.
You may eat for emotional reasons, and something may be going on that where that needs to be addressed. So it's the combination of food, exercise, and the most important thing, based on what you gentlemen were saying, I think is to be able to control your environment. That's the number one thing that we can do. And there are certain things that you just can't have around you because they just entice you. And you have to be disciplined. So for instance, if I keep ice cream in my refrigerator, and every time I open the refrigerator, I see the ice cream, I'm going to eat it. But if I don't have any in there, then I don't think about it. So it's sort of like out of sight, out of mind. And so we have to set up things where it's easy to drink more water, to eat more fruit. I mean, it's easy to drink more water if you don't have anything in the house but water.
If you don't have those other options available.
Yeah. So for me, that's pretty much my only option. I don't really buy, like for instance, orange juice, something that seems like innocuous. The only times I drink orange juice are when I'm on like a long bike ride.
Right, where you need
if I'm riding 50, 60 miles, I need it. It's hard to do that on just water. So controlling the environment, your home environment, because when you go out, all the influences are there. We can't control it. But when you're at home, you can control what's at home.
And definitely setting a routine, getting up, doing your meal prep, getting some exercise, you going to work, having a good meal for dinner, eating a good lunch. But the meal prep, taking the time to get those raw foods and meal prep and doing it right, that is going to make the difference, along with drinking water and getting into that routine. I think developing that routine, like you said, that's going to change everything.
One other thing, as far as environment is concerned, if you're a person that drives a lot, controlling what you have in your car. Because if you don't have any food in the car, you're going to stop at a fast food establishment.
You are.
And there's nothing but cancer-producing and heart disease-producing food. So
Kirk, what do you think about? I got some of the dried fruit and nuts. I keep them in my car so that I can snack on.
I think.
What do you think about the dried fruit?
I eat dried. I don't eat a lot of dried fruit unless I'm putting it into a recipe where I'm making something at home. I do love dates. I do love raisins. I love all types of dried fruit. But normally, if I'm in the car, I'll have fruit with me, bananas, or something that is easy to manage. Or I have nuts. I have raw nuts, like raw cashews, raw almonds, raw walnuts.
Right.
That's what I want.
Are good.
So I sort of stay away from the dry fruit, and I stay away from things that are mass produced. Because when food is mass produced, there are chemicals and things that are put into it that they don't necessarily put on the pack. So it's the lesser of the evils.
When you do work with clients, is it they come and see you and one-on-one, you put together a plan with them? Is that kind of how it works? They get in touch with you, you meet with them, and you'll meet with them weekly or monthly or however long they want?
Exactly. Some clients I just do like online coaching with. So
you'll FaceTime with them and
I'll FaceTime with them.
Yeah.
And I mandate that if they want to talk about losing weight and changing their lifestyle, that they have to keep a food diary. You got to do that.
Steve's got to keep a food diary. Okay,
yeah, you got to keep it, because I got to know what you're putting in before we can talk about what we expect to get out of you.
Right. So okay.
That's very important. So yeah, I Zoom a lot. Ever since the pandemic started. Before the pandemic, I worked at a gym, and then everything obviously got shut down and everything moved online. So now I'm still doing a portion of my work online.
Well, you're definitely making a difference. And my last question to you would be, being a type 2 diabetic myself, so you believe the number one thing to focus on is weight loss, and then obviously changing your diet to eat more raw foods, and that can make the difference to naturally lowering your sugar and help you be healthier and take the pressure off your heart and all that stuff.
I'll say the number one thing is reducing the amount of fat that's in your diet.
Fat, okay.
Not necessarily the weight loss, reducing the amount of fat that's in the diet, because the fat, as I said, metabolizes and fat can be stored all over your body.
All over your organs and everything. Yeah.
And it just gets in the way of glycogen being stored into your muscles and your liver. It just stops it from happening. It's like if you have a key that you're putting into a keyhole and there's gum in it already. You can't get the key in there. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay.
So the gum is like the fat, and the key is the glycogen trying to get in.
And get the patch too, so I can test that way instead of having to prick my finger a million times.
Get the patch. Yeah, you want to know exactly what's going on. It's your body. You have to be your own best advocate. And
it's just my final question. Like my last A1C was 7.4. What would you recommend getting down to? Because I know a lot of people are in the 5 and 6 range. Is that doable, you believe?
Definitely. Below 6.
Below 6. If I get below 6, I'll be in good shape.
I won't. I'm not a doctor, so I can't really say.
No. I obviously not. But
and pay attention to your genetic.
Something tells me, Steve, you'll be doing absolutely great if you get below 6.
If I get below 6, okay.
Yep. You'll be great.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a very mind-blowing educational experience, and we'll put your website up. We will make sure that you're in the show notes, and I'll make sure your Instagram's up as well. I will send you the podcast. It's going to be on all social media. It's going to be on Spotify. We set a record last week on YouTube with 38,000 viewers. Ooh. And it was crazy. We've never had that many on YouTube before.
That's great.
But I'll send it to you. Share it. Thank you so much for your time. This was an eye-opening experience. So for Razul, we'd love to have you on again for sure.
Okay.
We'd love to have you on again.
When we do this 20 years from now, I want you all to be saying you're fit beyond 60. All right. I'll be 80 something. I'll be ancient, but that's okay.
No, if I look like you when I'm 60, I'll be doing cartwheels down the middle of Main Street here. So don't worry. But for Razul and Jah, you guys tell Ashley this was a phenomenal guest. Kirk, you're amazing, and I may contact you to get you on one of our other shows that we do, because I think you'd be a great fit. And we can absolutely promote your business as well. So
I'd love to.
Just remember, Kirk, Razul, and Jah, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.